Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. I am your host, Smooth Caramel, and I talk about rap, so that's what I'ma do. So today I am finally taking the time to look at a song coming out of the UK, my place of residence. Took me a while. A young artist known as Alicaì Harley, an up-and-coming singer and rapper born in Kingston, Jamaica, but currently working in the UK, London to be specific. London being where I spent most of my life. Now let me say this right out the gate. Stumbling across this woman's artist page on Spotify was such a welcome occurrence. After listening to just a handful of her songs on the page, I knew this was an artist that I really needed to keep an eye out for in the future as well as for now, because there's music coming out right now. In the last decade or two, we've seen a massive increase in what I could only really call singer-rappers. Rap and hip-hop has expanded a lot to include a lot more than what it was, say, 2 or 3 decades ago. And this can be great for things like creativity, individuality, and innovation. But it could be said that in this shift within the mainstream, it seems to have resulted in somehow moving in the opposite direction with borderline uniformity. We have a lot of rappers turned singers that don't actually have any real vocal talent behind them, or limited at best, in most cases at least. Usually just working the auto-tune to the limits of what it can do tends to end up with a very familiar sound.
Cut blue hundreds with the stones is bleeding. What's your issue? If you got a
trap, serving cocaine, they ain't been the same since. That's by the time I call her Serene. I go tremendo for new fettuccine.
Inside all white, like something you ride a sled down. I just want that.
On top of that, we also have the occasional singer taking small steps into the rap market by dropping the occasional verse on their songs. This can be straight up rapping, or it can also be this kind of sing-rapping intermediate form. For the most part, the ones that I've come across, I would say, are serviceable but unnecessary. The rapping on these songs that are by artists that are primarily singers can be fine, but often doesn't really give enough of a contrast to their more normal singing style for it to add much musical contrast to the song, and thus not really add too much to the tracks. But this is my opinion, of course. There's also a lot of, let's say, unsuccessful attempts at singers trying to turn rapper or offer some rap verses on their tracks. Yeah, the less about those, the better. However, with the artist that we're looking at today, we actually see a pretty good example of what can be achieved when an artist is actually proficient, and proficient is an understatement, in both rapping and singing. In addition to actually being able to integrate that into their own personal musical style. The song in question is called Put It On You. I doubt anyone with any interest in watching videos by a man such as myself would have any real trouble working out what that's in reference to. It's not even the most rap-like of songs, but I want to talk about it, so I'm gonna. So let's dive into the review. Firstly, the beat immediately hits you with a really light and bouncy tune, obviously incorporating a Jamaican roots into the song with that dancehall-like tempo and sound, immediately making me want to move upon first listening. Somewhat deprived of this kind of a sound and vibe, being stuck in lockdown up here in Scotland away from home. Not even too many Caribbeans out here to begin with. But let's look at the lyrics a little bit.
What you want? What you want? You want to jump in that thing after a long day.
Straight to the point with this song. Alicaì Harley going straight into what the deal and situation is when it comes to this song and her man. Setting up the tone, expectations, and desires that are on show. Now,
oh my gosh, when I go rush me, why you do it the right way?
Now, there is a lot of repetition like this within the song, but it works to vary the pace of the lyrics as they arrive, allowing more time to feel the overall vibe set by the songs, as well as build up to the parts that have a faster pace and delivery as they flow a lot more fluidly. In particular with the patois moving especially quickly.
And the only time we act is when it's role play. You get the cake and boy, it's not even your birthday.
I love these kinds of lines and wordplay that you tend to hear in these dancehall songs. I don't even need to explain the meaning. always keeping it real, acting double entendre for roleplay in the bedroom, and the song Cake exists. But I think he's also do well in establishing a very light and playful tone that works very well with the instrumental alongside it. You can make songs about sex in plenty of ways, but I think the darker, moodier ones by artists such as The Weeknd, Bryson Tiller, Roy Woods, Brent Fires, I think those have come the most prevalent in the current times. Not to disparage those at all, I mean, I love to bump them as well. Get You Good by Roy Woods is definitely one in particular that enraptures me when I listen to it. Probably one of my most overplayed songs of 2020 and 2019. But I think this lighter kind is quite refreshing, especially in this type of song where it's bursting with color and life, all with such an infectious and inviting tone. These kind of upbeat vibes are particularly valuable with the times right now. You even get some loves out of me too. Euphemisms done right. Well timed in that place leading into the bridge as well. We've lost the kind of feeling like a release, and the bridge acting like a big emotional release or celebration of the feelings that are behind the song. I can't wait for tonight when I put this on you. Really capturing that joy, excitement and anticipation. Brings to mind that feeling of being on the phone or messaging a partner when you're at work or something, just otherwise occupied, and you're on a break and just discussing your plans for what you're gonna do together later that night. You know, when it's essentially providing you something to look forward to, and it helps you get through the day. Very much intentional given the opening lines of the song that we looked at earlier. And the song pretty much continues in this vein. It's a sex song, but much more about the anticipation to sex rather than the actual act itself. The lyrics, while explicit in what they're talking about, aren't graphic about it. Again, nothing inherently wrong about that when it's there. I used to enjoy singing along to Vibes Cartel back in my high school days.
Your pussy have to physically fit. Broke me cocky like dry maca stick.
But this lack of graphic detail adds to that welcoming and accessible feeling.
You the boss, me I gonna make you take charge like a phone bang. You know your wife and I gonna play you like a board game.
Anyway, it remains enjoyable, relatable, as well as just being a good bop. Lines like this get the message across easily to, hopefully, adults. I mean, those are gonna understand, easily related to, but it could just as easily go over the head of what could be a younger audience where they may just be enjoying the melody and the tempo. Feels like the type of thing that would have just flown over my head as a kid when I was at a barbecue or something. But the almost small scale specificity of the lines add to the sense of intimacy of the lyrics as well. So maybe I'd be wrong in saying that it's a sex song. And it's actually more of a love song based around the narrative of sex. It's all lovingly focused on the you in question, making it all seem like a massive testament of the love the person singing / writing the song feels for the person that they're singing to / about. Regardless, a very nice song, sure to play on speakers of mine on plenty of occasions in the future. Makes me feel very nostalgic, especially for those family gatherings and barbecues back down in London. Carnival. Especially with that Mr. Vegas head-side reference there that I actually forgot to talk about while I was filming. Those times when you're just feeling good and you dance. But also nostalgic for that sense of love and elation you can feel for a romantic partner. Especially when you're having good sex. If you're a relative, you didn't hear that. With that though, I think I'm gonna leave it here. Though I would definitely recommend listening to more of Alicaì Harley. I know that I will be. I've already listened to a handful of her songs, almost all of which I've very much enjoyed so far, but there's plenty more to explore. And on the off chance she stumbles across this video, if you're ever looking for a London rapper, then hit me up. People say I'm good sometimes. Anyways, peace, love, all that goodness. This has been another Smooth Caramel review.